Welcome to Broadish, where broads chop things up and dish things out. I am Jocelyn Chia.
Felicia Madison.
I'm Hollie Harper.
Dhaya Lakshminarayanan. And today, Jocelyn wanted me to tell all of you that I'm using a webcam, which makes my face look very Donald Trumpy. This is not my normal skin color. It's orange. So I apologize in advance if this triggers any Democrats.
Oh, you mean your skin is full of lies and oppression? No, it doesn't seem that way at all. It looks clear. It looks conscious.
Thank
with
you.
a conscience.
By the way, speaking of skin, there's been a really important question I have been meaning to ask you, Felicia. What is the secret to your beautiful skin?
Oh my God, it doesn't feel beautiful today. But lately people have been asking me, I'm very, very complimented because 3 people asked me who my plastic surgeon was.
Wow.
I'm like, I guess I'll take that as a compliment, but it's really, they ask me like what I'm using and I'm like natural fillers, natural fat fillers from like donuts, pizza, ice cream. Yes, I always, in life, you decide between, the old expression is your ass or your face, right?
And that is true.
What is your skincare routine, Felicia? Like, if you're eating donuts, I'm going to start because you look great.
Yeah.
Glazed, powdered, what is it?
I don't have like a really, like when I go to the skin doctor every once in a while, just for like regular checkups, and I'm always embarrassed to tell them what I use. I literally use Oil of Olay face wipes.
Really?
And the one thing I do use that I get are these pads. I can never say them. It's called salicylic acid.
Salicylic acid.
It's really funny because we were once playing charades in my family, and my daughter used that as a clue.
Oh.
None of us get it or say it. But yeah, I'm like not a believer. I am now as I'm getting a little older, and I always kind of felt like all these creams and stuff is like chemicals that you're putting on your body. And I don't even use sunscreen. I'm like it's terrible. I eat everything. I'm like, I don't, I don't know. Maybe it's genetic.
That's the worst answer ever. Genetics. I'm so sorry you're not lucky like me. I was due to a lifetime of that on my face.
I did do one thing in quarantine for the first time. I got my upper lip injected.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
yeah, and it was really funny because I didn't tell my husband, and I came home and he doesn't know. Men don't notice anything, right? I could like turn my hair purple and chop it to here. He wouldn't notice, and he looked at me. He's like, "What did you do to your face?"
Oh,
wow.
And so I went into my daughter's room because I told her, and I'm like, "Oh my God, and I said, "Oh, I just have makeup on," so he bought it. I'm like, what should I do? She's like, "Well, you can't tell when you're smiling." So just smile all day. And I'm like,
stop.
Then I'll be really suspicious.
Then it'd be like, why is my wife smiling? I didn't make her smile.
Yeah.
Who is making her smile?
But it dies down after a while, but it's pretty cool.
What's a while though? A day? A few hours?
It's like a day. It's just swollen from the shots, but it was like, it's been like 6 weeks. It's already like disappeared. But
so you had that bee stung look.
Yeah. What do they inject in there? What do they put inside of
the filler? Some sort of filler. I don't know. I didn't ask. I just like to support my local dermatologist.
Isn't it a thing that people were putting on their lips and it's just a cream that makes it swollen, or do you have to get an injection?
No, they do have a cream that they put on your lips. It's sort of like an allergic reaction for your lips. Mm-hmm. And it makes them puff up temporarily.
Ooh. I have a friend, she's a black woman, and she's like, white women are trying to pay money to get lips like mine.
Nah, I love that. And ass like hers.
But what about black women black women are getting crazy asses though. We get a lot of ass injections.
Oh, really?
Like, I did not know this until my friend was like, yo, Atlanta, it's all the same booty. They all get booty injections. I'm like, you're black. What are you getting booty injections for? I don't get it.
Yeah, I grew up in the wrong time frame because like when I was growing up, I wanted one of those like flat, like Levi jeans asses. Actually, my whole life I have, but I've always had a big, big butt. So
yes.
My daughter was trying to lose weight the other day, and I said, yeah, she asked me if she looked like she got skinnier. I said, yeah, your butt looks smaller. She's like, oh my God, I don't want my butt to get smaller. I'm like,
oh my God.
They
butt
like
is the
big
new
butts.
Boobs. Yeah, butt is the new boobs. Have you been hearing that men have a preference for butt more than boobs nowadays? Oh, it's been
really?
the past decade.
See, I think big boobs will never go out of style.
True.
I don't think boobs will. I think like butt, like, I don't know. I hope butt never goes out of style. I'll be okay. But like, I'll be fine. But like boobs, I don't see boobs. They're always going to be either number one or number two. I don't see boobs going anywhere.
I have a friend, a very, very close friend. She's a lesbian, and we were like hanging out all the time. And I think she felt like I'm straight. So I think she felt like she needed to make me comfortable around her. And she goes, Dhaya, don't worry. I would never like hit on you or anything. And she goes, you're not my type. I like big boobs.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what's ironic? Her longtime partner now, after they moved in together, they're totally in love. She has no boobs. So I'm so happy. That's what happened.
See, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have.
Speaking of men not noticing anything, why are women so particular about their looks then? Is it for other women? I mean, I do think men are still at the fundamental level why we are wanting to look good, right? To attract men or women, someone of the sex that we are attracted to.
I think that's an like, I don't have any data on this because usually I come correct. But I mean, I live in San Francisco, which right now it's everything is shutting down. But San Francisco, by all accounts, is like the gay male capital of the world. And you look around and all of these gay men are so beautiful, and their beauty standards are really high too. Like you need to be ripped, you need to be cut, you need to have your hair a certain way, you need to like wax things. So I feel like gay men also have it really hard because they're trying to aspire to these beauty standards. But unlike women, gay guys have like loopholes, like they have like bear daddy and twink. So even if you're not traditionally attractive, you can find but like there's no guys out there that are like, give me a hairy ass woman. Like that's not, so we're at a disadvantage.
Well, you know, good point you make, because and I guess this can be the fight me section, except that it's fight him, because my ex would say this. He would say that men can get a woman as long as they are rich. No matter how old he is, as long as he has money, he can get women. But women have to look young and beautiful in order to get men, and that's harder. And to your point, even in the gay community, the men can still be rich or have this niche like hairy, berry. When you say a bear, I thought you meant he was the provider of material stuff.
I have Jocelyn, I just have 2 words for your ex-boyfriend. Mackenzie Bezos. She'll get anyone.
Oh, honey.
She's Jeff Bezos' ex. She's like now divorced, billions of dollars. You know, she could be a monster. And, you know, one of my comedy friends said she's like was just voted the most beautiful woman in the world.
You know, girl, word.
That
you know,
singer, I'll give her credit for that joke.
That is a good joke. You know, she's got like a dozen like Dirty Johns like after her right now. Any guy with looks like halfway like Eric Bana is coming for her. Like they're out there.
Yeah, rich men do have the ability to get ugly rich men get like the beautiful models. Again, going back to Dhaya's dating service for models.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it seems like even like tore up, busted, ratchet men always got a woman. Like there's this cartoon, you know, Dora, right? So you know, Dora, they have like the grumpy old troll who lives under the bridge. And he's a song like the grumpy old troll who lives under the bridge. He's like a ragamuffin. I'm watching this for a year with my daughter, and then one day they're like, it's the grumpy old troll's wife. And I'm like, what? So even the grumpy old troll has a wife? Like, what? He lives under the bridge. He's freaking homeless. He's got a woman. He caught somebody.
You know, but
I
feel so sad when I hear stories like that. But then, did you hear Brad Pitt's new girlfriend? She's like 27 years old, but she's already married to a man who's like in his 60s. They have a kid together, and they're in an open relationship. I'm like, why even bother having all this when you could just go straight to Brad Pitt? Like, why do you need all this extra stuff? So I feel like, she's a model, by the way, Felicia. So she went through my service, but
she went through your program.
Yes. If you're a model, how to get a better man besides Donald Trump.
She'll be getting divorced pretty soon.
Well, she will. The hungry troll. it's not just rich old dudes getting hot young babes. Even men in prison with no ability to buy bags and Valentino are getting these women falling in love with them. So is it that women are just desperate?
I don't know, but nobody is writing your cousin that got locked up. You know what I mean? Like, nobody is writing your friend, your cousin Karen that got locked up. That's not happening. Like, it's only dudes that have all these women writing them in jail. It's insane. I don't know.
I do think men are just not as picky as women, so we're pickier. Like,
that's why we go for jailbirds?
I think we have standards. I think,
I think some.
Well, I
sometimes think we have the wrong standards. Like, is he breathing? Is he alive? You know what I mean?
I think, in favor of women, I think maybe women are just very optimistic. We see their potential, not how they currently are. Oh, you're in jail.
You know what?
Now?
Well,
let me tell you that. I had a life coach one time tell me, he said, don't ever put man next to the word potential. All potential means is he ain't done nothing yet. That's what potential means. He's done nothing. You just have high hopes. That's all you have.
I like this life coach.
Well,
Felicia, do you think, sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, so to answer your question, Jocelyn, are women desperate? I think so. And, maybe this is fight me, because I think women have been told their whole lives, who are you going to marry? Like, what do you want for your wedding day? Do you have a boyfriend yet? And our whole culture revolves around this. Like, I get invited to so many weddings, and it's like, can I bring a +1? And they're like, no, not unless that's your boyfriend. I'm like, I want to bring my gay guy friend who will not only dance with me, but he will like tell me I look amazing, and he'll have better conversation than any straight man. Why can't I bring my gay guy friend? So like, people are very rigid about, you need to have a relationship. You can only bring your significant other to the wedding. If you're not in a couple, you don't get the same tax benefits. Our whole society is set up so that marriage or partnership is the ultimate goal. And even when we were trying to get equality for gay people, it wasn't equality in employment. It was equality in marriage. So we are focused on the wrong things. We've got to get women educated. We've got to get women away from abusive partners. We have to get women independent and take the emphasis off marriage as the ultimate thing that you can accomplish in life, because it's not. And people can love their husband or their children or whatever, but just because you don't have that, our society treats people as less than. So that's why women are so desperate, because if they don't have that, then something is wrong with them. Whereas George Clooney cannot be married until he's 50, and people think he's okay. But if a woman were to do that, something is wrong with her.
How are you going to bring a +1 to the wedding if he's in jail?
That's why I only have gay guy friends as my +1 on demand, because they're not committing any crimes. Like their crimes are being so handsome that it hurts me. Like that's their only crime. So I feel like I can my +1s on deck are responsible. But I was going to say, I follow is it Ted Alexandro? Do you guys follow him on Twitter? He posted this clip, a Letterman clip that he did a long time ago. And he goes, I'm 42. I've never been married. I don't have any kids. And he goes, I made it. And he literally got an applause break for that. But can you imagine a woman doing that bit? Probably not. They'd be like, oh my God, she's so sad.
Michelle Wolf did that whole bit of like, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have kids, stop arguing with me. It was like a whole episode. Like, people are always fighting women. They think if they don't want to have kids and a family, there's something wrong with them. And I think getting married and having kids is like, that's why men didn't want us to be equal, because they realized once we had equal pay, equal rights, and we were doing everything, we were like, we don't need you.
What I'm hearing from people's response to women who outrightly proclaim they don't want to get married and don't want to have kids is, you're just saying that because you think you can't have it. It's like a way of self-talking ourselves out of our despair, to be like, well, sour grapes, I don't want it anyway. And they think that that's what it is when women talk like that, rather than it being that genuine emotion.
Foster homes are filled with children from women who did not want children.
Right.
So the more women who don't want kids and don't have them, the better. Live your life. Live the life that you really want, and don't ruin yours and someone else's.
And let's take India as an example. Because of like over the last 20, 30 years, people have worked on eliminating child marriage in India and saying these girls can get an education, they can be smart, they can work, they can become teachers, they can send money to you. And that's prompted people to be like, okay, girls might be equal, let's educate women and girls. But now because of COVID, education is not available to these girls. So they're getting married, forced into marriages at age 11 and 12. So child marriage is happening across our world because people think marriage is the ultimate way of making a woman successful in life. And that societal belief has tragic implications in places like India, in some parts of Africa, Southeast Asia. It's really sad. So this is not just like, oh, a feminist argument. It's an argument about global change.
And it also perhaps perpetuates women staying stuck in really unhealthy and toxic marriages if they do believe that they need to have this status in order to be valid in society. You know, Felicia, I had a very fun time with you in the Hamptons one. So Felicia is an Upper East Side socialite with a house in the Hamptons. And
Not really, but whatever, I'll take it.
That's where she gets the money for all her fat Botox. So getting married appears to be a goal in society for women, but staying married sounded like a whole different challenge when I was talking to you and your friends, because they were talking about how they have to stay young, stay good, stay skinny. And I asked because every woman in the Hamptons that I met looked the same, tall, skinny, blonde, some with bigger tits than others, but they all looked really great. And I asked Felicia, are all the women this good looking here? She goes, yeah, but the ones who are not, the ones who don't stay good looking become ex-wives. Yes, and moment, and it's just I'm just wondering if this is more of a class thing. Are women married to rich guys more paranoid about losing their husbands and really put a lot of effort into looking good?
Listen, you know, marriage is hard. You know, it's really hard, and you know, then you have kids, and then you know, it does a toll on you physically and mentally, emotionally. And I joke in comedy, I say, you know, so the husband divorces you and he goes out with a younger version of you thinking like I was a lemon. But, you know, you take that one out for a drive around the block and have a few kids, she's going to be just like me. And, you know, I always say, like, you know, we have more than one child because we forget what the pain of childbirth, which is the same reason why men have more than one wife. They forget the pain of being married and having kids, so they do it all over again. But, you know, marriage takes work. It's up and down, and I think people are just very prone. If you don't appreciate and value what your wife has done as a mother, then it's bound to fail. I'm very lucky because my husband appreciates it.
And perhaps the subtext here is that men value the looks more than what she offers as a housewife or a mother or as a companion, because then
it's all about sex. You know, as long as you take it, I always say if you're not having sex with your husband, someone is.
Does that mean you can let yourself go and look old and fat, and as long as you're still sucking his dick, he'll stay?
I think so.
That is funny. It was crazy that I was watching.
You become old and fat, and he's still with you. All right, that's when I'll believe it.
What I think is crazy is like I was watching, you know, like Sex in the City, like everybody else in the whole country, but you know, I was been watching it lately because it's funny when you look at it now. Certain things are dated, but certain things look like it could have happened this afternoon. You know what I mean? When you watch Sex in the City, and I was joking with my daughter, who's 13. I was like, you know, in real life, Big wouldn't have gone for Carrie. He would have married her niece that looks like her. Like, I don't believe for 1 minute that Big would have wifed her and all that. Like, to me, the truest moment of Big being Big was when he left her at the altar. That was, to me, who he truly was. And it was funny was that everybody in the movie theater was like, you know, when it happened. And I remember I was sitting, maybe I was just in a bitter mood. I started laughing. I was like, I could have told you that. You know what I mean? Like,
so that coming a mile away.
I could have gone like, girl. But yeah.
You know what's interesting? That actor in real life, he's married to a gorgeous black woman, which makes me like him more because I hated him as that big character. And then I learned about him. I'm like, he's in an interracial marriage. This is cool.
He only dated black women because before he was on Sex and the City, he was on Law and Order.
That's right.
And Detective Mike Logan, he was on Law and Order. And I used to wait tables at this restaurant. And he came in with a beautiful black woman. This is like in the mid-90s. And then when he got married, it was a totally different woman, but another black woman. I was like, oh, okay. All right. I see you.
So
I see you, Chris.
Like that.
So Dhaya, you have advice for the models, and I have advice. I have advice for women that want to date ugly men because they're rich. Your daughters end up looking like the father, so you have to look your daughter in the eye every day.
Ooh, hey, yeah, think about that.
That's the revenge you get. That's the punishment you get for marrying for money.
That's true.
But then if you have money for plastic surgery, right? So then if you're an
There's
ugly
only
daughter,
so much you could do with plastic surgery sometimes.
Really? I think Nancy Pelosi looks amazing, and if she's had plastic surgery, I want that kind when I'm
Me too.
She looks great.
Let's find out.
Nancy Pelosi looks pretty good.
She looks amazing. But you know what? Maxine Waters looks amazing. I bet she hasn't had plastic surgery because she's probably like
She ain't
that
had no
good
plastic
looking.
surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maxine ain't had no plastic surgery.
About
I
how
tell.
a Korean man sued his wife for doing all this plastic surgery and not telling him because his kids turned out ugly.
I saw that. I was like, so you're just telling the world that your kids are ugly. Like it's not that we just breeze right past that. Like, this bitch is ugly because they ugly. And it's like, wait a minute. You ugly? Like what? I've never seen anybody just call their children ugly. I've never seen that. When I saw that, I was like, wow, these people are props. These are props in your life.
Yeah.
That you didn't like how they turned out.
Korea is like the thing. Like everyone gets plastic surgery. When
I see a beautiful Korean woman, I never know whether it's natural or plastic surgery, and chances are it's plastic surgery.
Is it like that in Singapore too? I wonder.
It's not as big of a deal. I mean, I know that if I want to get plastic surgery, flying to Korea would be the thing to do.
Okay.
Oh, let's go. I'll go with you.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm down.
Broadish road trip.
Broadish road trip, yes. Speaking of ugly, let's talk about fashion at the RNC. This is the Broadish version of Fashion Police, and we are going to go check out some of those fashion stylings at the RNC.
Girl, it looked like if JCPenney had the Oscars. Like, it was like, I don't know about y'all. Okay, now. This is what y'all got. Okay.
And the JC and JCPenney is Jesus Christ. Get us
I guess even rich people have been affected by COVID and are shopping at JCPenney.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you know, I feel like when you're that Republican, you're going to lose in fashion sense. Those arts just move further and further away from you. You at a deficit when it comes to taste. I'm sorry.
Maybe they have COVID because the first thing to go is taste. So they have no taste in anything. There's an article that came out that the BBC was trying to recruit conservative comedians, and they did a screen test, and they were like, these people are just not funny. They just don't have any humor or any taste or any style. So maybe as you become more conservative, you become less fashionable, less funny, less empathetic, but richer. I mean, that's the only thing that is going for you.
There aren't a lot of Republican comedians.
I know there's not. I mean, there's a few, but they're kind of, they
weren't Republican when they started out.
Yeah. They got that money and then they became Republicans.
Right. Well, I find it interesting because I did read an article in the New York Times that was discussing the fashion of all the female politicians. And I found it so offensive, especially because they make such a big deal at the Oscars that you're not even allowed anymore to ask the woman what she's wearing. Do you know that?
Why?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Because they don't want to talk about their clothes. They want women, they have other things. They don't ask the men what they're wearing, although sometimes sometimes they do, but it's just not interesting.
Who cares?
But they didn't want it to be about their clothing. So why, I don't know why they're making such a big deal about what like Melania wore, which I thought was like very classy and beautiful for, you know, when she spoke at the Rose Garden. And now they're doing it with politicians. Why is it okay to critique what the politicians are wearing? It shouldn't be what we're talking about.
Well, I'm sorry. I can talk all day long about Republican fashion. Like, if you guys are okay with children in cages, you have no problem me calling you fugly. Like, no, you can take a hit. You can take a hit.
Well, I think that, so a couple of things I think are interesting. One, I do like when people ask Michelle Obama what she was wearing, because it was usually like a queer designer or a woman of color designer. She elevated the careers of so many designers just from like buying their stuff. I mean, she wasn't like, oh, I just got this off the rack in Nordstrom. She put like thought into it. So I think that's great. If people want to talk about their fashion and who they're supporting, I think that's amazing. I looked at two things. First of all, a man at the DNC was a fashion icon. Billy Porter, like he just came out with that thing, like from behind, and he just had, just came out with this gown, and he looked amazing. And I want more Billy Porters in the world. He looks so good every time. But what I also liked Roll Call, because the Navajo Nation came correct. They had all their turquoise. They're like, look at our land. It's gorgeous. Look, God gave us this because we're indigenous and this is our stuff. So look. And then they had like all the people around them that looked beautiful in like traditional Dene outfits. And then they got a Navajo guy to speak at the RNC, and he just like threw on some turquoise beads, and he had a tie and a blue suit. It's exactly what Republicans do to ethnic people. They're just like, here, you're a token, come speak. And it's like that. It's like, throw on some.
And wear a couple little tokens. We're a couple little tokens.
Yeah, a couple little so that guy from the Navajo Nation at the RNC looked terrible. I'm like, look at the DNC counterparts. They look so fashionable and so good.
I think we should tell Trump that to relate a little bit more to Democrats, he should dress more like Billy Porter. Imagine Trump coming out like a Billy Porter, like,
Well, I mean, if someone could just fix the length of his tie, you know what I mean? Like, you've seen Trump's tie? It looks like a clown tie. Like, it's long. It's like he has a tie that comes down to his penis. Your tie's not supposed to come down to your penis, right? Right? That's not the
Maybe
thing.
he's trying to cover something.
I think he just wants something constantly touching his penis.
Maybe that's the thing that's grabbing him by the pussy. It's Trump's tie. When Obama was running, Michelle Obama was on The View, and she wore like an off-the-rack dress, like size 8 from White House Black Market. It was gorgeous, and it sold out all over the country. Like, it was insane.
It was off the rack. It was off the rack, but it doesn't mean she picked it off the rack.
That is true. Somebody went in there. Michelle wasn't like, eh.
I guess when you're a politician, when you're a female politician or politician's wife, what you wear can make a statement. So I can see why there might be more attention on what a politician is wearing because of the message it's sending. So for example, when a first lady goes on a diplomatic mission with their husband to a certain country, they tend to wear a little touch of the country's culture on themselves as a nod to the country. So I could see this being a useful thing for women being able to leverage their fashion. In fact, the New York Times article was talking about how female politicians now feel more comfortable to express themselves in their fashion rather than just always being trapped in pantsuits. And I do see that else they all be dressing like RNC convention delegates on the male side. That'll be boring for us.
Yeah, well, what about like when Melania wore that jacket when she was going to visit the I guess it was the children.
Kids at the border?
Yeah, her jacket said, "I don't really care." Or something on the back.
Yeah. I was like, we knew that. Like, we knew that. We knew that, girl.
Yeah. She was being true to herself.
I think it's important because Ivanka, Trump's daughter, like her fashion clothing, so much of it was manufactured in China. And if he's like, make America great again and Americans first and white people first, why is your daughter getting all her stuff from China? So, and also those MAGA hats are probably made in China. So I think it's important to talk about what people are wearing because sometimes it does reflect their politics because they're like, what's good for me is not good for the things that I'm saying in the world.
I mean, look at this photo here of Melania Trump. For a dad, who hates China so much, she's wearing the exact same pattern on her dress that's on my China. And this is a photo of Melania wearing the same shade of green that she turns after sucking Donald Trump's dick.
I thought it was really clever that people, I wore a green screen shirt today. So if we want to edit this to say Black Lives Matter or immigrants make America great or Indigenous lives matter, please put it on my shirt right now. Because what they did with Melania's outfit is they put all of these things like death toll from COVID. And I love that there are people out there being like, let's use green screen technology. So that was brilliant. So
that was brilliant.
If Melania wants to make a rookie move like that, then she deserves it.
She's running out of stylists. No one wants to represent her anymore. It's like, it used to be an honor to dress the first lady. Now it's like,
yeah, didn't Ivanka Trump's clothing line sale drop after her dad became president? But speaking of bad taste, look, check out this photo of the woman in a hat. It took me a minute to realize that was an elephant trunk and not Trump's penis.
You know that Trump wishes he had that like elephant trunk. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. He's just like, yeah, that's me. That's me. You don't wear no Magnum's trunk.
He's like, yeah, that's why I want to be in this party. I want the elephant trunk.
With the elephant trunk.
I just think it says a lot about his supporters that they put those ridiculous hats on.
Well, they don't understand fashion. They don't understand fashion. So they're like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to wear this. They don't understand branding. They don't have any Republican influencers on Instagram because their Instagram would just be gross.
So let's move on to the creep of the week. We have an international creep of the week today, Kim Jong-un. Dhaya, tell us, what did this guy do?
Well, apparently when Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the most dour person to ever work for Trump, and he's had many dour people, and that's not gendered. She just has a bad personality. So supposedly Kim Jong-un winked at her or was like flirty in some way. And Trump was like, you know, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, you need to go to Korea and do some diplomatic shit. Take one for the team. And I was like, oh, damn, you are pimping out your press secretary to a dictator. And that's the kind of foreign policy that Trump is doing. But anyway, I thought that was kind of creepy. Kim Jong-un should not be hitting on people in a diplomatic capacity.
But, you know, can you blame him? She is Trump's most dour person. And it seems to be the kind of person that Kim Jong-un goes for.
True.
Yeah. Out of all the people to pick.
I don't know whether it's her smoky eye or her magical mouth being able to turn out lies.
If you guys had to pick a dictator, which dictator would you pick to go out on a date with?
I like how you emphasize the dick in Twitter.
Oh, Freudian slip there.
I mean, just like billionaires, dictators are not that good looking because they have to force people to listen to them. But if you had a good personality and you're handsome, I want to look at you all the time. Like Hugo Chavez, Mugabe, Fidel Castro, like none of these dictators are cute at all. But democracies like Justin Trudeau is very handsome. Like, so I think there's something about being a dictator that like you're kind of ugly. So I'm not sure if I could really pick one because
were they ugly first? That's why they become a dictator to get chicks.
Yeah, no one votes for an ugly president.
I would go with Putin because there's something about that Russian accent that's so sexy that makes you want to be like, yeah, you can just tie me up and do what you want with my mouth.
And if you ever ran for anything, he would interfere to make sure you won. So you know he's got your back.
Yeah, it doesn't end well for dictators. I would like to stay away from that.
Yeah, he's going to be able to send all those Russian bots to my YouTube and just rank my YouTube up really high. And I'm going to have 1 million over followers on YouTube now.
Prince and King are much more like better things to say.
Good looking.
A little bit more reliable, lasting. You know, it takes a really really hard to bring that down unless you're Meghan Markle.
But anybody else? Which dictator you want to go on a date with? Nope, is a no for dictators.
No. They are. They're usually fugly. And a lot of the wives end up getting killed anyway. So like, no, like I'm good. It's fine.
Yeah, that's sad. We can't think of a single dictator that we would go out on one date with.
We can think of prisoners we like to go out on a date with, but dictator, nah, that's lowering my standards way too low.
That's true.
All right, and that is a wrap from us at Broadish. Thank you so much for tuning in every week, and we'll see you again next week.